welcome to the Narrowing Path, walking the spiritual walk. My name is Steve Van Eiderstein. Thank y'all for joining me again tonight as we do today's reading, September 6th, from James Allen's Daily Meditations. This, of course, will be fresh to you and fresh to me, meaning you'll get my genuine response, reactions, observations, and what I relate to about the reading, as this will be the first time that I hear it or read it right here on this podcast with you. So I'm looking forward to it. Yesterday's was another great one. Loved it. And the opening line was just perfect on it. Man's power is limited to, and his blessedness or misery is determined by his own conduct. So let's remember that. Try to remember that you're responsible for right where you are in life. So here we go. This will be September 6th reading of James Allen's Daily Meditations. Selfish thoughts and bad deeds will not produce a useful and beautiful life. Life is like a piece of cloth, and the threads of which it is composed are individual lives. The threads, while being independent, are not confounded one with the other. Each follows its own course, each individual suffers and enjoys the consequences of his own deeds, and not the deeds of another. The course of each is simple and definite, the whole forming a complicated yet harmonious combination of sequences. There are action and reaction, deed and consequence, cause and effect, and the counterbalancing reaction, consequence and effect, is always an exact ratio with the initiatory impulse. Each man makes or mars his own life. Well, there you go. I like the metaphor they used for this one as well. Actually, the cloth with the individual threads, and though we might be woven together in the same tapestry of life, we each have our own individual path, our own individual place we are holding. That's a pretty cool thing to think about, right? Because as a whole, we form something potentially, right? Beautiful and intricate and a masterpiece, but it is reliant upon a lot of tiny little threads. And if we keep that in mind, we'll understand that our lives are our own, our thoughts are our own, our actions are our own, and our circumstances are our own. And we're responsible for all of that. So here we go. The opening line, which it would be a simple, straightforward fact. But if you actually sit there and ask yourself if you believe that, and if you say yes, do your actions back it up? Okay, there's a couple checks you can do on yourself here. The first line is selfish thoughts and bad deeds will not produce a useful and beautiful life. Right? Okay. So do you actually believe that? Because if you believe that, then you can do the next check. Do your actions show that you believe that? Or are you trying to live a useful and beautiful life, but still being selfish and having bad actions, right? Having jealousies and angers, frustrations, despair. Are these still a part of your repertoire? Are these things still a regular practice in your life? Or are you changing those things? Are you living through good deeds and selfless thoughts? Because that's what produces a useful and beautiful life. Excuse me. Now we'll go into the main body of this. Life is like a piece of cloth, and the threads of which it is composed are individual lives. Again, yeah. Talking about the how everybody's path is individualized. Everybody's path is their own. And we can be pressed right up against others. And I think that's what, let me read the next part actually. The threads, while being independent, are not confounded with one another, right? So, should that be true, which it is, my path in life might be pressed right up against someone else's path in life too, right? We might have be walking side by side, but their path is still theirs, mine is still mine. And I've come to have this understanding and this perspective with everybody's path in my life. I believe that that idea and understanding is a crucial one to have. I I don't think our paths ever merge. The most we can get is to walk side by side with somebody. And some people will walk side by side with us for a very brief moment. Some will walk side by side for a very long season of our life. And some might never leave. We might leave before they do, right? So it's an interesting thing to think about. When you think about it that way, it almost lets you be able to think of living as a way to share life with each other, right? It's a way to enjoy an experience because the paths don't always stay next to each other either. Well, this is what it's each follows its own course. It's the next line of the reading. And I believe that. Wholeheartedly. I believe it. It gives me a deeper appreciation for those in my life right now. Even the ones where I might assume they're going to be around for a long time. It's not always true. Each individual suffers and enjoys the consequences of his own deeds and not the deeds of another. The conduct you have in life, the thoughts you have in life, the intentions you put into this world are yours to reap the benefits of. If you put good and positive and love into this world, you will get good and positive back and love back. If you put the opposite, that's you'll get the opposite. Right? I think we go into the cause and effect again, right? And in the second paragraph there, but we are responsible for our exact circumstances in life. We're responsible for our exact actions in life and our thoughts. We're talking about accountability here, guys. When you stop blaming, you get such a well, eventually, I can't say it happened immediately for me, but eventually you understand and can grasp and hold on to the sense of power and the just simple freedom. That's the word I was looking for. The freedom that comes with it, with that accountability for your own place or your own life. The last sentence of the first paragraph of the main body of this. So the chorus of each is simple and definite, the whole forming a complicated yet harmonious combination of sequences, right? So things in your life don't always make sense to you when they happen, but in the long run, in the grand scheme of being things, in the overall picture of life, they will. That's what we don't realize. We have such a narrow and tunnel vision view of the world and perspective that we take because we only think about ourselves, that things that don't make sense to us happening to us right then and there, we think are wrong. We think we're a victim of the world, we're a victim of God's wrath and dislike of us, or whatever you might want to call it, right? We get to blame anything and everything because look at this. Why would this happen to me? I've done that a lot in my life. the second paragraph now. There are action and reaction, deed and consequence, cause and effect. And the counterbalancing reaction, consequence, and effort is always an exact ratio with the initiatory impulse. So the bigger the action, the bigger the consequence. Let's remember this, right? The bigger the action, the bigger reaction. The bigger the deed, the bigger the consequence. The bigger the cause, the bigger the effect. Remember, our actions have consequences, and we can't stop the consequences. We can't avoid them. The only thing we can do is own them, be accountable for them. We can't erase them, though many of us would like to, but we can't. We have to walk through the pain and the discomfort caused and have a much more positive interaction with things. So we need to remember that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. That's a physics law that reigns true in spirituality as well. Now, the last line's a very simple, straightforward line. It doesn't need much explaining, I don't think. Each man makes or mars his own life. You're given this physical material life once. Make of it what you will. And you can mar it, or you can make it. You can make it really good, or you can mar it all up with sin and selfishness. It's your call. You can use this life to be of service to God and others, or to yourself. You can contribute or you can take. You can give or you can take. The choice is really yours at the end of the day. That's the beautiful thing about free will. What master will you serve? What master will you serve? So, all right. Well, thank you all for joining me for today's episode. It was the 250th episode today. That's quite a good chunk of time and a good chunk of information. So I'm very, very happy to be participating and a part of this. And thank you everyone that jumps on and listens. I'm eternally grateful for your loyalty and admiration, I guess, for the show. I appreciate it. So we'll keep on going. And thank you all for joining me today. So until next time, thanks.